Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to confront one of the darkest and most defining chapters in all of human history, the Middle Passage. Now, as we explore the history of the British Empire, we really have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Was the empire a source of pride, a cause of shame, or is it something profoundly complicated that just defies simple answers? Well, to figure that out, we have to look directly at the factual evidence of the transatlantic slave trade. Specifically, we're focusing on the Middle Passage, that agonizing second leg of the triangle trade, to truly examine the human impact.
A crucial piece of this history is the Brookes diagram, which was published in London back in 1787 by abolitionists. What it shows is a cross-section of an actual Liverpool slave ship. And it's important to understand that this wasn't drawn to be sensational. It was distributed directly to Parliament and the British public as hard, undeniable evidence. It literally made the invisible, harrowing realities of the slave trade visible for all to see. To this day, it remains one of the most important historical documents you will ever encounter.
454. Think about that number for a second. That is the amount of human beings packed into the hull of that single ship. They were forced into rows, lying side by side, head to feet, with each person allocated a space smaller than a coffin. And they had to endure these suffocating, pitch-black conditions for a journey that typically dragged on for anywhere between 6 and 10 weeks, all depending on the weather and the winds.
There is an absolutely stark contrast between how the ship captains viewed these individuals and the unimaginable reality those individuals actually lived through. In the official ship logs, enslaved people were recorded merely as cargo. Captains would bring people up on deck for brief exercise, but make no mistake, it wasn't out of humanity. It was purely an economic calculation because a dead enslaved person meant a financial loss. Below deck, the extreme heat, the complete lack of ventilation, and rampant diseases like dysentery essentially turned these ships into grim floating coffins.
The scale of loss is absolutely staggering. Across all voyages of the trade, historians estimate that approximately 12 to 15% of enslaved people died before they ever even reached the Americas. To put that into perspective, this mortality rate represents roughly 1.8 million human beings who died at sea. They died from smallpox, scurvy, severe dehydration, and starvation. And in some cases, individuals actively chose to take their own lives, rather than endured the horrific existence that awaited them.
But here's something absolutely crucial. We must never view enslaved people simply as passive victims. These slave ships were deliberately rigged with high netting all around the sides, specifically to prevent people from escaping by jumping overboard. Yet despite this, historians have documented dozens of uprisings. Even though the crews were heavily armed and trained to brutally suppress any revolts, enslaved people constantly asserted their humanity. They fiercely fought back, attempting to seize control of the vessels to return to Africa, which is an incredibly powerful testament to their total refusal to just accept captivity.
And this brings us to a pivotal moral and legal moment that really exposes the absolute lowest point of this entire trade, the Zong massacre of 1781. This specific ship left Africa dangerously overcrowded. When disease inevitably broke out and people began dying, Captain Luke Collingwood made a cold, calculating financial decision. If enslaved people died of disease, the ship's owners would have to absorb the financial loss. But if they were quote-unquote lost at sea, the insurance company would pay out. So he ordered 133 human beings to be thrown overboard to their deaths. And perhaps most chillingly of all, when this went to trial, the British courts initially treated this horrific mass murder as nothing more than an insurance property dispute.
To truly grasp the gravity of this history, we have to listen to the complex human beings who actually survived it. In 1789, a man named Olaudah Equiano wrote a direct eyewitness account of his experience. He wrote, "The closeness of the place and the heat of the climate, added to the number in the ship, which was so crowded that each had scarcely room to turn himself, almost suffocated us. The shrieks of the women and the groans of the dying rendered the whole scene of horror almost inconceivable."
Equiano survived. He remembered, and crucially, he wrote it down. First-hand accounts like his are our most direct evidence of the crossing. They prove that survivors were active agents who bore witness to the crimes committed against them. His book was read widely by politicians and the British public, making the reality of the slave ships completely undeniable, and it played a massive role in changing the course of history toward abolition.
Now let's shift gears slightly and examine two really interesting historical facts that show just how deeply this trade impacted everything it touched.
Fact number 1.
Take J.M.W. Turner's famous 1840 painting, The Slave Ship. It's considered one of the most celebrated and romanticized works in all of British art history. But if you look closer at the churning water in the foreground, it reveals shackled limbs. This painting was actually directly inspired by the Zong massacre. So beneath those beautiful romanticized waves, one of Britain's most famous paintings of the sea is actually a brutal depiction of mass murder.
Fact number 2. The system of systemic coercion actually extended far beyond its African victims. Now, while we must never equate this to the unimaginable suffering of enslaved people, it is a historical fact that the crew members of slave ships also died in massive numbers. Approximately 1 in 5 crew members died per voyage, largely from disease, and many of these sailors were recruited through debt, deception, or simply kidnapped and forced onto the ships. It vividly illustrates how the trade was a systemic, corrupting force that damaged absolutely everything and everyone involved in it.
All right, it's time for a quick knowledge check. Let's review the crucial historical evidence we've just covered. I'll read the question and the options, give you a few seconds to think, and then we'll review the answer. Question 1. What was the Brookes diagram and why was it so important? A. A financial document showing the profits of the slave trade. B. A plan of a Liverpool slave ship showing 454 enslaved people packed as cargo. C. A map showing the routes of the triangle trade. D. A record of the names of enslaved people transported by the British.
The correct answer is B. Published by abolitionists in 1787, it made the harrowing conditions of the Middle Passage visibly undeniable to the public.
Question 2. Approximately what percentage of enslaved people died during the Middle Passage? A. About 1 to 2%, B. About 5%, C. Approximately 12 to 15%, representing approximately 1.8 million deaths, D. About 30%. The correct answer is C. This represents approximately 1.8 million human beings who died from disease and brutal conditions before ever reaching the Americas.
Question 3. What happened in the Zong massacre of 1781? A. A slave ship was sunk by an African naval force. B. Captain Collingwood ordered 133 enslaved people thrown overboard so owners could claim insurance. C. An uprising led to all enslaved people escaping. D. The ship collided with another and sank. The correct answer is B. The devastating reality is that the courts initially treated this mass murder merely as an insurance property dispute.
Question 4. Why did enslaved people attempt revolts despite overwhelming odds? A. They believed they could sail the ship back to Africa themselves. B. The crew deliberately encouraged revolts. C. Resistance was a refusal to accept captivity passively. D. Historical evidence shows no resistance occurred. The correct answer is C. Dozens of documented uprisings demonstrate that enslaved people asserted their humanity throughout the crossing despite brutal suppression.
Question 5. Why is Olaudah Equiano's written account historically significant? A. It is the only account written by someone who experienced the crossing. B. It provides direct eyewitness testimony of conditions that helped change the debate about abolition. C. It is only of historical interest today. D. It was written in an African language and only recently translated.
The correct answer is B. His widely read account provided the direct eyewitness testimony that made the horrors of the trade undeniable. The historical evidence of the Middle Passage forces us to look closely at what humans are capable of for the sake of profit, returning us to our main question of how we view the legacy of the British Empire. But the story of survival doesn't end when the ships docked. Next time, life on the plantations. What happened after enslaved people arrived in the Caribbean and America?